Hello everyone, and welcome to the summary video for patch 1.18 for Final Fantasy XIV. This is the first major patch delivered since Yoshi P's arrival. It's been a long time coming, and your patience has been well rewarded with the arrival of this patch. This is quite a large patch, and it brings with it new content, system changes, and a lot of other surprises. So before we dive in and start reviewing the changes, I'd like to remind everyone that patch 1.18 is the first in a series of patches that will be reworking the foundations of Final Fantasy XIV and allow the development team to bring us more engaging, fun, and challenging content for the future. I have a lot I want to share with you today, so let's dive right in, shall we? First up, let's review the additions and adjustments made to the configuration menu. As you can see, the config menu has been changed, and a lot of the options you had to memorize and type are now easily selectable via the config menu. Of particular note, I'd like to point out that you can now set your targeting mode from the config menu by selecting target settings. I encourage everyone to try each mode and find out which mode works best for them. My personal preference is targeting mode C, where up and down on the controller is for friendlies and left and right is for cycling through enemies. In addition to being able to set your target mode in the config options, you can also select between multiple target indicators. The first being the classic reticule on your selected target, and now in 1.18 you also have the option to select a hovering arrow, or if you're so inclined you can have both depending on your personal preference. So next up, I'd like to point out you can now toggle to have your action bar displaying at all times if you like. There will be further adjustments in the future to have all three rows viewable as well. Another new addition to the configuration options is the ability to save or reset the camera position. Simply set the camera where you want it and select Save Camera Position. You can also save the camera position by hitting Ctrl-N on your keyboard, or if you're using a controller, simultaneously pressing the buttons mapped to Camera Mode and Auto Run. There are a number of other tweaks and adjustments to the configuration options, so I definitely recommend taking the time to familiarize yourself with the options that are now easily selectable. Personally speaking, I can appreciate not having to memorize all the various commands needed to set game options. Return has also received some adjustments as well. As of patch 1.18, Return no longer costs anima and is on a 15-minute cooldown. Keep in mind, should you be KO'd during battle, the cooldown for Return is not activated. Now that I've mentioned being KO'd, let's talk about the new death penalties. First of all, if you're KO'd, you'll receive a weakness effect. This penalty hits you with a 25% reduction to your hit points and your MP, with the same amount of time for recovery being unchanged. However, if you're unlucky enough to be KO'd while under the weakness effect, you will receive the effect of Brink of Death. The icons presented for both effects have a different color to them. With Brink of Death, you'll receive the following negative effects: 50% hit points and MP reduction, 50% attack power reduction, 50% magic potency reduction, 50% defense reduction, and a 50% magic defense reduction. This brings me to the next item I'd like to cover, and that is repairs. Previously, all repairs required a particular material along with the appropriately leveled Disciple of the Hand to perform the repair. Now we have a new universal repair item called Dark Matter, which comes in grades 1 through 5 and can be used to repair all equipment no matter the base material. The amount of dark matter required can vary depending on the piece of equipment you want to repair. Keep in mind, you'll still need the appropriately leveled Disciple of the Hand to perform the repair in conjunction with obtaining the required dark matter. Dark matter can be obtained in a number of different ways, either from vendor NPCs, guild leave rewards, and also through gathering. Finally, I'd like to mention that repairs now have a 100% success rate if all the requirements are met. Next up, let's talk about leave quests and behests. First of all, in order for a leave to become available, you must be within 5 levels of the recommended class rank for that leave to even become available to you. Also, across the board, Battlecraft leaves do not reward as much SP as they did before, although Battlecraft leaves are still great content for you to enjoy if you have very little time to play on any given day. You can log in, do your leaves, make some progress on whatever class you're ranking up, and log out. Skill points for leaves are now awarded at the completion of leave objectives. And in regards to local leaves, when you turn in a leave, the skill points are awarded to the class required to complete the leave, regardless of the class you're on when you turn in the class. So for instance, if I complete a goldsmithing leave and change to miner and go turn in the leave, the points will go to my goldsmith. Furthermore, in order to earn guild marks for your various classes, you now have to visit the corresponding home city of each guild to earn marks for that class. So in order for me to earn pugilist marks, I would need to visit Ul'dah and perform leaves from that city, and so forth and so on. This is a great way to get players to visit the various cities in Eorzea. Behests have also seen some adjustments in this patch. First of all, Behest enemies now scale based on the number of participants in that particular operation. Also, after participating in a Behest, you'll have to wait a certain amount of time before you can join another operation. And just like with Leave Quests, skill points in Guild are awarded once you actually complete the Behest operation. You'll receive point and guild bonuses for participating in Behest if there's been no participants for several cycles or where the operations have repeatedly failed. You can view the time remaining before you can join another Behest by going into the Attributes menu and over to the Timers tab, which is, by the way, a new addition in 1.18. From the Timers tab, you can also view other time-related information pertaining to instances and leave quests. In addition to the Timers tab, there's also been a new tab added for Grand Companies. From this tab, you can view the Grand Company that you're associated with and the seals that you've earned for each company. So now that I've mentioned Grand Companies, let's go over to the Market Wards and talk about Grand Companies. New content has been added in the form of Grand Companies. Each city has its own company. For Limsa, there's the Maelstrom. Gridania has the Order of the Twin Adders, and finally Ul'dah has the Immortal Flames, which is where I'm located right now. When you start out, you can actually join all three companies as a recruit, but as you get a feel for each company and decide to rank up, you'll need to swear allegiance to only one. Each company has an introductory quest complete with cutscenes that you'll need to complete in order to join. As you complete additional quests for your chosen company, you'll earn seals. These seals can be used to purchase consumables like eye drops, potions, or you can save up your seals and purchase weapons and equipment. Just as a side note here, each company has different rewards, so your loyalty to a company may be swayed by what gear they can actually offer for your work. I also like to mention that potions and consumables are fairly cheap to purchase with seals and come in stacks. This was nice to see, as Final Fantasy games have always included the use of potions and other items. One final note here regarding Grand Companies is that in order to rank up in your chosen company, you will need to spend your seals you've earned to achieve greater ranks and unlock more quests. Now let's talk about combat changes. One of the major components of this patch was the addition of auto attack and changes to the enmity system. Now enmity has a 1-to-1 ratio and is a culmination of all the actions you perform during battle. First of all, I'd like to point out is that you can now change between active and passive modes while moving. Although your character does do a little moonwalk, so to speak, I'd rather have that than have to stop in order to switch between active and passive modes. The dev team is actually fully aware of the mode switch moonwalk and is currently addressing that particular issue. A number of the Disciples of War have received new weapon skill animations, which look really nice, by the way, but nothing yet for us pugilists. Expect to see more diversification in auto attack actions in patch 1.19. One of the first things you'll notice here as I engage a target is that the stamina meter no longer appears. Stamina has been removed in patch 1.19, and to compensate for that, all the recast times for your actions have been adjusted accordingly. To accompany the enmity changes, you'll notice the enmity indicator next to the enemy's hit points bar. If there's no icon, you don't have any enmity, but as you perform actions through the course of battle, the icon will appear and you can progress from being green to flashing red, green being the lowest, and flashing red means that you are now the target of the enemy. Keep in mind that you can turn the indicator on and off in the config menu if you like. As you can see, the action bar has been spruced up and looks a lot better. As you perform actions in combat, notice the blue circle around the action give you a visual indicator as to when the action will be available again. You can also see a countdown timer to indicate when your action will be available again as well. The speed of your auto attacks is actually determined by the delay of your weapon, so expect to see weapons added in the future that will allow you to increase your auto attack rate and even double and triple attack. Now briefly I would like to touch on the two new instances that have been added to the game. First up is the 1000 Miles of Total Rock. This instance is a 4-person instance available to classes rank 25 and above. The time limit for the instance is 60 minutes with a re-entry cooldown of 5 minutes. So it's actually a great way to level up and hunt for treasure at the same time. Next up is the Dazmel Darkhold, which is available to classes rank 45 and above. This is an 8-person instance with a 60-minute time limit and a re-entry cooldown of 5 minutes. Each of these instances requires a completion of a prerequisite quest in order to enter them. You can pick up this quest from any of the city-states that you like. I'm not going to go into much detail regarding these dungeons right now due to the fact that I'll be posting guides for each dungeon after running through them a few times and I'm a bit more comfortable with them so that I can post guides that I feel that will be helpful to fellow adventurers. One more addition I'd like to mention before wrapping up is the addition of Beastmen camps. So let's go take a look at one right now. Currently I am in front of the Amalja encampment in Ul'dah. Each region currently has 2 camps. Limsa has 2 Kobold camps, Gridania has 2 Izal camps, and Ul'dah has 2 Amalja camps. Be sure to go visit them when you get a chance. They're actually great places for party EXP. It's a great addition to see the Beastmen finally out and about in Erzea causing trouble. Well, that about wraps it up for this summary video for patch 1.18. Overall, this is a tremendous patch that really feels like Yoshi's vision is starting to take shape, and I'm really looking forward to the next 2 updates. Just as a heads up, patch 1.19 will see the addition of chocobos and airships available for use to adventurers. 1.19 will also bring with it Beastmen strongholds, a battle with the one and only Ifrit, and the removal of physical levels and a host of other changes. So until 1.19 releases, I'll see you out in Erzea.